All right, what's going on, everyone? Back on our sideline sit down, our final guest of the day, Kevin Auer here with Real Sports Live, joined by South Sands head coach Ron Kretz. Coach, what's going on?
Beautiful day in paradise. Good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, yeah. Coach had to reschedule, so we were able to get him back on this show. So, Coach, thanks for making the time to come on and be here with us.
Absolutely. I'm glad to talk some ball.
Yeah, you mentioned it was a beautiful day. I actually went outside a little while ago, and it's about 70 some degrees down here in Edinburgh. So, for the month of
And
April, that's not normal.
San Antonio, it was 45 this morning and nice and crisp. And then it's warmed up into low 70s. So it's a really nice day outside. Wish I could do more.
Definitely, yeah. So, Coach, exactly, what have you been up to? I think we're about a month into quarantine and just adjusting to this new lifestyle. What have you been up to these days?
Uh, Caught up with a lot of my reading. Uh, Got into the garage and reorganized that sucker from top to bottom and built some shelves. And luckily, I have all 10 fingers still. Just trying to stay busy, basically.
You guys, I know a lot of people. Like my dad's been painting my sister's rooms. We've been doing. I've learned how to put some things together as far
Yeah.
as housework goes. Have you picked up on any hobbies around the house like that? Any puzzles or anything?
No, I've been zooming football clinics 24/7 almost. I mean, you get on those suckers and get onto these free sites, and it's before you know it, it's 3 in the morning. The other thing that I've been doing is little, Bob the Builder woodworking.
Oh, yeah.
Just finished up a guinea pig pen. We got 2 guinea pigs that my daughters have, so we updated their pen, built some shelves in the garage, and that's about it. And just trying to keep up with everything else going on in the family.
You and your family, you guys binge watching anything specifically, or are you watching anything?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was what did I watch first? Narcos. I
Okay.
watched all 3 seasons of Narcos. uh, I was the only one, no one else in the family got into it, and then started Ozark. I'm barely in season 1. And the wife and kids, they're a bunch of gamers, so they've been on their PlayStations, uh, Nintendo Switch, and all that stuff. So that's how they keep busy between their homework and their online lessons. And I keep busy, trying to do stuff around the house and staying online myself.
Cool. Yeah, I was wanting to get into that Narco series. My question for one of our guests we had a couple days ago was, do you have to watch them in specific order, or can you just watch them? Narcos Mexico, Narcos El Chapo, or
Now, I would recommend you watch from the beginning
okay,
because it kind of, I mean, you can pick up a season, but every now and then there's some background information that you need to know. So I
okay,
would start off with season 1 and get through it. What was interesting when you got to season 2, Narcos Mexico, they're talking about Brownsville,
oh wow,
and they even threw the mayor of Brownsville under the bus on that one.
oh
And he
wow,
was he was right there in the hacienda with all the drug lords. And I don't want to believe it, but it's a movie, it's fictional, it's good
yeah,
stuff. But it was interesting stuff. I mean, they're just brutal people, and
yeah.
then living in the valley, we saw that.
hmm
But to the extreme and the background behind it, man, those guys just have no mercy.
I did watch Ozarks, and I did finish that. That one, you're in for a treat there. Ozark's really good.
I'm just starting. That one I got to watch when no one else is around.
Yes,
There's
yes,
some scenes in there that my kids don't need to see.
yeah. It's definitely rated R if Netflix
Yeah.
had a rating.
Yep.
But
Yep.
yeah, Jason Bateman. I mean, I've always seen him in comedies,
Uh-huh.
but in this show, he just does a tremendous job. It's pretty good stuff.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, coach. So as a head coach, obviously everyone's in the same boat when it comes to teachers, coaches, and athletic directors. What's been the most challenging thing as a coach on trying to keep your boys, your athletes in shape?
Well, the main thing is we always talk about what are you doing when no one's watching?
Mhm.
And now we can send them tweets, we can send them huddle messages, we can call them, text them, email them, etc., and tell them what to do. But we have no way of checking if they're actually doing it or not. That's the most concerning part. Your players, they're going to stick around and they're going to do their thing because they want to compete. It's those other players, those backups, those JV players that I'm concerned about. They're going to come back overweight, loss of strength, everything we've worked hard for, throughout the year. They're losing, and it's tough. I teach in a school that's a Title One. Basically, it's like a Brownsville in San Antonio, and the kids. They work hard, but they just don't. A lot of them don't have a lot of means to go out and buy a weight set right now. So everything is just push-ups, sit-ups, and body weight squats.
And I know some districts are allowing coaches to use Zoom to get a hold of their athletes. Is that the case with you guys? Are y'all allowed to do that?
Oh yeah, we are a early college, and our academic standards are more stringent than others. And everybody in the high school has their own laptop. Every student is given a laptop when they enter high school. So we were already ahead of the curve as far as other school districts around the state. The kids were used to being on Google Classroom. That's nothing new for our students. It's nothing new for our teachers. The only thing that's new is for us as coaches trying to get the information out. My freshman coaches are using Google, and they're sending lessons through the Google Drive to the freshman players. And as far as JV and varsity, we're using the Rank One Sport app. It's a free app right now, and we're able to monitor what they do there.
And the same goes for your coaching staff. Do you hold weekly meetings, or how many times a week do you hold meetings with your staff?
The football staff, I hold a meeting every twice a week, every Tuesday, Thursday.
Okay.
We're just to make sure we're on the same page, and it's a good time to revisit everything. The offensive coaches are learning what we do on defense, and defense learn what we do on offense. It's just like little mini clinics. We get on for 1 hour, and we're off. When we get to offense, of course, that's my cup of tea. We sometimes last a little bit longer, but we're trying to install a new style of play, and it's taking a little bit of time, and that's another major concern. We've been running the flex bone for the last 4 years, and now we have a skill set of players that we should be able to throw the ball a little bit more. And we just got to tweak some blocking and not be able to do that physically with the players.
Right.
That's a huge concern for me. So we'll have to address that issue when we get to the summer.
Being it, like I said, obviously not being there, we've seen, softball, track, baseball, all these spring sports really just get put on hold. Obviously everyone's kind of had an opinion on this, on maybe what UIL could possibly do, and obviously May 4th is that magic date. Just maybe your opinion. What do you think are some solutions that maybe UIL could do as far as the spring sports go, if we're able to play?
Well, spring sports, I think they should give everybody a week to get back in shape, get their kids together. So like a week of preparation, and then if you're in track, have a district track meet and have an accelerated schedule like that. For baseball, softball, they can squeeze in a double hitter Tuesday, double hitter Friday, and a single game on Saturday. In fact, that was the talk in our district up here in the Northeast School District. We have a preliminary schedule set up for May 4th. Baseball, softball will play 5 to 6 games a week, and try to knock that puppy out. And then when you get to the playoffs, it will be like when we had the swine flu. It's going to be a 1-game series till you get to the state championship. And then, of course, you got to play back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what will probably happen. As far as football goes, there's talk up here with the bigger schools that they're advocating for like OTAs, like the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't have our kids back by May 4th, to let us have a 3-day OTA in June, another 3-day in July, and then let us pick up the season August 3rd. Of course, that's all. And if we don't have the OTAs, there's a lot of coaches that have what I believe to have leverage up here, is that they're advocating for 8 hours a week skills and drills instead of just the 2 hours that we're allowed by UIL.
Mhm.
Because in the summer we're allowed 2 hours of skills and drills, and there's some coaches that want to push that to 8, and everything's just for the safety and just have a better football game in August.
Yeah, and that's another thing when you look at it, obviously, like, when you talk about pro sports, Major League Baseball, the NHL, NBA are all put on pause. The NFL has one thing that these leagues don't, and that's time. High school football has time. Just think about the possibility of maybe you guys playing a game with no fans, and just how unorthodox that would be for you guys. And yeah, it's a cringy thought,
Yeah.
like, and I mean, Major League Baseball right now is thinking of maybe playing through their minor leagues, having, the Cactus League and the Grapefruit League. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
It's strange, but when I was talking with coaches, we're like, hey, whatever it takes to bring baseball back, we'll take it. And
Yeah.
I think, if we get to that point, just as a coach, how do you guys approach that, or how do you guys take that in on having to play a game with no fans potentially?
Frankly, I've never thought about that for my season, but it'd be a very dry, very unemotional. It'd just be different. You get that hometown crowd behind us, and you can see my backdrop, and that's our home stands. They're capacity crowds. When we play, a student section gets crazy. Our players feed off of it. To play without fans, it's got to get done. Then we'll do it. It'll just be for a very quiet. It'd be like a middle school atmosphere almost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
but
much.
we still be a winner or loser, and the kids will still have to work, and you'll see the product of their hard work on Friday nights.
One solution that I thought of, maybe because I know a couple of districts down here as far as softball goes. I know baseball didn't get to start district play, but softball, a couple of districts down here did start district play. I know 32 6A and the 3A district down here, they didn't start district play. One idea was to just play one round of district play and then go from there, just pick up where you left off. I know in the 5As, they had already started district play. They're about 3 games into district, just finishing out that first round and then going from there.
Yeah.
Another solution was maybe just creating a district tournament, and then the 4 teams from that tournament would make the playoffs. I don't know if that was an idea up there with you guys.
No, we've talked about adjusting the district schedule per se, but the thought of a tournament was never talked about, because it's whoever's hot on that weekend is
Right.
going to be the winner. You rather have 2 or 3 weeks to decide a winner, not just one weekend. But it's strange times, and whatever the district executive committee decides, that's what we're going to do.
Perfect. So we're gonna switch gears here just a little bit and talk about your coaching career, your coaching background. I know I'm good friends with Brett Esparza over at Rio Hondo.
Yeah.
And he mentioned to me that he was your bat boy.
Yeah.
When you were in Raymondville. So talk about that just a little bit, and your relationship with him and Debbie.
Wow. Debbie was a middle school coach down in Raymondville when I first got my job. And man, most people don't realize this, but when you're a first year teacher, you don't get your first paycheck until late September. So you got to make it all through August, all through 2-a-days, all through September on yourself and what your family can help you. And I'll never forget Fernando Viescas, Albert Tijarina. Those 2 guys were in the middle school with me, and they took care of me. They very, very good men. They were buying me meals when we went scouting, because I didn't have anything. They were buying me lunch. They just took care of me, and I'll never forget that. And when I tried to pay them back, both those men said, "You know what? Don't worry about us. You just take care of the next guy." So as rookies come in right out of college, I just do the best I can to give the favors that are given to me. But as far as Debbie and Brett goes, yeah, Raymondville was my first teaching job. I was head baseball coach right out of college. I spent 3 years there, and it was a very unique community.
Mm-hmm.
It always had great athletes. But baseball was not a priority at that time. And playing baseball in college, I thought that was my ticket. And I spent 20 years coaching baseball and assisting football. But I really wish, if I can do everything all over again, coaching in Texas, you better put all your marbles in football because then you can advance quicker. You get a whole lot more support wherever you go because everybody wants football to be successful.
Right.
And then
Go ahead.
from Raymondville, I went to Harlingen South. I worked with Jody Garcia as baseball, and I worked with Alex Leal, one of the winningest Hispanic coaches in Texas. I spent 3 years there. We lost to the state champion Roosevelt. That was a very exciting year. We upset Victoria and played Roosevelt the next week in Corpus, and they had these humongous defensive ends, 2 huge bookends, great players. And then from Harlingen South, I went to Rio Hondo to be a coordinator with David Robledo. The exciting time there was when we beat Port Isabel for the first time in 27 years. We beat them 10-7. That was a exciting game. Took a 2-minute drill to get down to like the 12-yard line, kicked the field goal for the win. And it was really, really neat time. And ever since then, Rio Hondo's been on fire. I mean, I think they've made the playoffs every single year since that game back in the late 90s. And then, Gus Cavazos and Rocky James are doing a good job leading the parade over there. And from there, got to go to be a head baseball for Randy Creeders. He was the head football coach at that time. I helped out Manny Gomez on defense. I did the computer work, the film work, and coached the freshman teams over there and helped on the press box on Friday nights. Then went to Los Fresnos for a year. And my career was getting stagnant, so I followed my wife's career. She came to San Antonio. And then I got hired as a middle school coach. That lasted for about 2 to 3 days. Got moved to a coordinator in the same school district, just luck. And the year after that, I'm a head coach. So it's, God's plan works in mysterious ways. And, I was just going to follow my wife's job, become a middle school coach and live happily ever after. But, things just turned out the way they did. And here I am.
We had Edward Ledesma also told me that he was going to be tuning in. Bubba,
yeah,
he was going to be tuning in. So shout out to him. He was excited to see that you were on the show. We actually had him on last week.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah, and
the Ledesma brothers, Randy Bermea, who you're going to have on, Brandon Garza, all those guys, man, I can remember them in from middle school through high school, watching those guys play. Just superb players, but they just extreme work ethic. And at every stop I had, I'd take a little something. And when I was at Harlingen South, I took Alex Leal's style of offense and how he always was trying to be ahead of the curve. Then from David Robledo, I took his public relations. And then when I got to Harlingen, they both under Coach Creeders and under Manny Gomez and Woodall was just the work ethic and the training that they put into it. And you just take everything, a little bit of everything, and make it your own. And, all programs were successful. And so it works. You just got to, right now, we're in a very, very, very tough district. Steele, Judson, Smith and Valley, Clemens, they're in my district next year. So we're up for some very heavy competition.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely a tough district. So we had Brandon and Randy on earlier.
Yeah.
And Brandon was telling the story. He goes, you can tell Coach Kretz, I told you the story was when he was a freshman that you benched him when the ball was wet or it was raining, he threw the ball wrong. He had a bad practice and you sat him down. Do you remember that story?
I don't remember that, but it's probably true if I did it.
Yeah. And you told him, if you have another bad practice, you're not going to play the next game. So he's like, ever since then, I never had a bad practice. I continue to have good practices so I could be able to play.
No, he's Brandon's such a competitor. He works hard. I mean, to do what he's done, to go to the University of Houston, then to UTSA, and just to keep grinding just for an opportunity. And he's even coaching quarterbacks now on the side. And I've tried to get my quarterbacks to go to him, but they just haven't had the opportunity yet. But sometimes we as coaches we say things just in a way to motivate the kid. Not to tear them down or to, you're actually going to bench your best player. You just want to try to get, at practice. If that really happened, it was probably raining. He was, well, coach, the ball's wet. I don't care if the ball's wet. it's got to go from point A to point B, and you got to get it done. And that was the point I was trying to get to him. But yeah, it probably happened.
Yeah, no, he loved the story and he loved
Yeah.
sharing it. And he's like, you can tell him I said this. So
Yeah.
I definitely will.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, those two guys are doing well. And Randy, I think he told me he's up in Bernie.
Yep.
He's up there in Bernie, and Kevin Ledesma was actually back at Harlingen these last few years.
Yeah.
What's up?
I saw all those boys. We had a little Zoom gathering Friday night. And I saw Kevin, saw him play quarterback and pitch for me in Harlingen. Bubba the same way. Randy Bermea, saw him run silly. I tell you, those guys made coaching football so much fun because you can tell them one time and it just worked out because their athletic ability and they were smart and, they're just tremendous athletes. They made everything look simple.
Definitely. So yeah, you've had a couple of stops in the Valley. Just how many years have you been there at South San?
I am finishing my 5th year. I did
Year.
1 year of offensive coordinator and 4 years as head coach.
And like you mentioned, that's y'all's home stadium there in your background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bobcat Stadium. We just got new turf this past year.
Sweet. I know you guys have had a lot of battles in softball with Harlingen South these last couple of years.
Yeah.
How is y'all's softball team doing this year? Did you get to check them out a little bit before the
Oh
season?
yeah. Ray Costile is our softball coach, also coaches quarterbacks for me. We were, I want to say 3-1, maybe 4-1 in the district race before we had to stop everything. Mm-hmm. We have a very strong softball program here in South San, and we did a lot of modifications to the facility to upgrade it. It looks really, really nice. All our facilities are on campus and they're very compatible to any small college. It's a really nice atmosphere. But Reiko still does a good job. And every time we play South San, we always meet in Corpus, and not South San. Every time we play the South Hawks, we always meet in Corpus, and we take it to game 3. Yep. And they always got a little bit more than we do. But it's a really, really nice rivalry we got going.
Yeah, it has become a rivalry because I remember a couple years ago, Christina Ariano hit a walk-off. I think that was a one gamer, and then I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago, South San won that first game at Cabinets when there was still dirt there at Cabinets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then South, somehow they came back and won those next 2 games with that crazy play at the end of the game. So it's South San and Harlingen South, ironically, for your sake, have had some pretty cool history together. And I know they played San Benito, I believe in 2016 in the area round. I think that was up in Sinton. But Coach, talk about, we talked earlier about, you coached here in the Valley, you coached up in San Antonio, and just a different style of play. 4 hours, give or take, from here to San Antonio, not too far up the road. Brandon and Randy were talking about the levels of play in Dallas and in Houston. And then the one word that they used was speed. Speed with Judson, power with Cibolo Steel, and how these programs base it off of one of 2 things. Mm-hmm. Where do you feel the Valley's at with San Antonio? And, do you see the Valley as a majority of the programs being built off of speed or power, or a little bit of both?
I'm just going to say that the Valley lacks speed. Mm-hmm. That not that we don't work at it. It's the natural speed. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing here at my school. We can get stronger, we can get faster, but the guy across town is just naturally that way. And or he's got the home environment where he's getting 3-4 meals a day, and he's able to go work out with his personal trainer that whatever they can do, they do. But up here, speed is all over the place. I've got kids that run 4.7, 4.8s, and we're still getting caught. It's just, and the thing about it too is, I've got a couple of those guys on my team, but the other team, everybody's running that on defense. Right. They're all fast. And what I've also noticed about the different style of play is that, the Valley kids work just as hard as the San Antonio kids. Talking about with their high school coaches. during the football class, on Saturdays, on weekends, watching film, etc. That doesn't change. The difference is, in my opinion, is that a lot of these larger schools, they go to private trainers. And if anything, besides some private trainers are out there and they just take the money and they boost the kids' ego, and some actually get some good work in. So the parents have to watch out where they're spending their money. But anytime a kid can get extra work, it's going to be beneficial to them. And the other thing about play between the Valley and San Antonio is San Antonio, if they're going to run a 4-3 cover 2, that's what they're going to do, and they're not going to get out of it. Now, I don't know if that's because we ran the flex bone and we were different and they didn't want to adjust too much. But even when we study film, the opponents, they're going to do what they do and they're going to practice stopping you. Whereas when I was in the Valley, no matter what school I was at, the defense was always trying to be more aggressive, trying to put one more person into the fight. And then that's one of the major styles that I have found that's different than up here. Also in the Valley, we've had a whole lot of plays on the play sheet. Up here, teams are going to run inside zone, outside zone, counter, and throw the ball. And it's I don't know if it's the game is simpler or they're just relying more on technique or just letting the kids be players. I can't really say, but it's just I like playing the San Antonio defenses because they're more what you see on film is what you're going to get. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the Valley, they may adjust some way, somehow.
Right. We've seen Converse Jetson. They played San Benito a couple years ago. And then, of course, because of the realignment this last 2 years, we saw the 6A, Class 6, 6A, the West Texas District, the Odessa, mm-hmm. Permian, Midland, Lee. They came down and they played the Valley, and the Valley played them. Right. Thankfully, because of realignment, that's been solved. Talk a little bit about realignment, and you just mentioned that you just listed your new district. Mm-hmm. Were you guys coming up from 5A to 6A, or y'all have always been 6A?
No, we've always been 6A. We're basically a homeless district. We're all by ourselves on the southern tip of San Antonio. My first year, we were in the Corpus district. And then my next year, we're in the San Laredo district. The last 2 years, we've been in the Northeast district. And now they put us in with, the District of Doom, Judson, Steele, Smith and Valley, Clemens, New Braunfels. So it's a very, very historic district. We're looking forward to playing them. It's going to be a very, very tough matchups. But we're going to, do the best we can to put our kids in position to be successful.
That's got to be difficult because I know here in the Valley, 32 6A has basically been the same. They just cut out East and Wesco a couple years ago. This year they're adding Donna North and Wesco High. So not too much change, but as far as the region goes, obviously the area, because you guys seem to have been in Corpus, mm-hmm. Laredo, you're playing San Antonio. So just it's like every 2 years you're exchanging, different parts of the region. How do you guys prepare for that as coaches? I mean, how difficult is that?
Well, like everybody else, we keep notebooks on everybody, and the notebook's only good for 2 years. You kind of hope you stay in that district, but UIO always throws a wrench into it, and you just move along. Like in the off season right now, I've been calling coaches for film on all the new opponents, and just doing my due diligence. Everybody's telling me it's going to be tough. It's like taking a knife to a gunfight, but we still got to do our job. And we got to do it well and put the kids and make the kids believe that, we got to compete. And as coaches, we got to slow the game down, run that clock as fast as possible, limit the opponent's possessions, and win the special teams. And, hold on tight to the fourth quarter. Just keep it close. Keep within a 3 to 7 point difference in the fourth quarter, and you got yourself a chance. You just freeze? I think he's frozen. Something happened. Oh, we got kicked out. He just texted me, Kevin Navarro got kicked out, so we got to do it again. There he comes.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I got kicked out for a minute.
There you go. All right, good deal. Glad you're back.
Yeah, no, my bad. Yeah, I figured that us and the entire world is on Zoom right now, so
Oh yeah.
it fluctuates.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're reaching the tail end of our show here again. Coach Ron Kretz joining us from South San. We're just talking football and the differences between here and the Valley, and talking about realignment. Coach, my last question for you, just looking back at your time in the Valley, whether it was at Raymondville, South, Harlingen, or Los Fresnos, or even Rio Hondo, what maybe stood out to you the most as far as your time goes in the Valley?
How every community, no matter which one I went to, they are very close-knit communities. Everybody supported the football programs. They supported all programs. And just the amount of work ethic that all the kids and coaches put into it. You think up in the state, Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, the coaches work harder. They do this better. Everything's the same. Everything is relative. And Valley teams, Harlingen's made historical runs. Edinburgh's had some runs. There's a lot of good teams that come out, but the common denominator is once you get to a certain level, speed just takes over, and that's just what it is. One other thing I wanted to add that's different from Valley coaching and San Antonio coaching is that the San Antonio coaches up here, they're not scared to sit down and tell you what they do. We have mini clinics all through the month of February and March that we go to. It's the San Antonio Coaches Association mini clinics. I know that Manny Gomez has tried to set up some in the Valley. Brent Blackman did a couple. It might be another couple of coaches, but where coaches get together and put a little itinerary and just get after it. And with a dry erase board, it's not like the city of Palms where it's more formal. It's more of a let's meet up at this barbecue place and let's just eat and talk football. And it's a very cordial thing. Everybody's professional about it, and everybody's willing to share what they do.
Perfect. Coach, any shout outs or any message you want to give out to your kids, your athletes, anything like that before we wrap up?
Yeah. It's really nice as a coach, as I'm getting up in age, to see all my ex-players coaching now. I got the Ledesma brothers. I got the Bermea coaching. Garza's on his way. To all the coaches in the Valley and up here in San Antonio, man, it's all the same. You guys keep working hard and get your breaks when you can get them. Basically, everybody's got to stay home. We all know that. Do your due diligence, because if we don't do our part, our football season is going to be down the drain. So just everybody do their part. Pray for the people up in the front lines. My daughter's a triage assistant. She's out there every day. That stuff got real one day when she came home, thought because one of her patients had coronavirus, tested, and came out negative. So that was a relief. So, this stuff is real. It hit home, and we just got to be careful what we're doing. But other than that, I appreciate you and all the other newscasters that, allow coaches like myself to come on, promote the sport, promote the program, and, just keeps everything a little bit more active right now since we're such a unique situation in our lives.
Definitely, yeah. We're all in the same boat, and I believe that we're all going to get through this together. And at some
Absolutely.
point very soon, we'll be playing sports again, not only in high school but in professional sports as well.
God willing, I hope so.
So,
We need
all
to.
right, yes, sir. That about wraps it up. Coach Ron Kretz, our final guest of the day. We had Richard Olzak from Texas Tech join us earlier, and of course, Randy Birdmea and Brandon Garza. So we're going to get ready for Friday's show. So be sure to keep following us on social media, Real Sports Live on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And once again, Coach, thanks for joining us. Be safe. Much love to you guys out there in South San, and you guys be safe and stay healthy.
Thanks so much. Pause up.
We'll see you guys.